The nomination of a new INEC chairman has drawn mixed reactions. Opposition figures alleging partisanship and the public questioning electoral integrity ahead of the future polls. What's your assessment of the process that led to the appointment of this new INEC chairman?
See, the new INEC chairman might very well be the younger brother of Angel Gabriel. But given the fact that he was nominated by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the doyen of election rigging in Nigeria, beneficiary of the fraud of 2023, I have no doubt whatsoever on my mind that the man is already compromised. No doubt whatsoever. Let me, however, say this. His capacity to compromise the coming election is completely in the hands of Nigerians, both the politicians and the electorate. I know as a fact from 2023 that if the people are invested in the system and they are willing to stand up behind their vote, I'm not talking about merely voting, if they would defend their votes, this ruling class is a cowardly class. If the people will stand behind their vote, they will fold. 1,000 of them will not dare to stand against the people. How many places were people camped during NSAS? Only Lekki Toll Gate and Alausa, and they were already panicking, bringing out soldiers. Imagine if we were camped in 36 states of the Federation. Just be camped in 36 different locations. How many soldiers are you going to send around? Mobilize the people behind common cause and let genuine, honest leaders emerge who can mobilize the people behind common cause. And then I triple dare whoever Tinubu cares to make the INEC chairman that he has appointed somebody who he has not already compromised. If he could not compromise him, he would never have appointed him. He would not be in his character to do any such thing.
Serious. Does the National Assembly have sufficient oversight capacity to prevent this INEC from becoming an extension of the ruling party?
Sorry, ask that question again.
Does the current National Assembly have enough sufficient oversight capacity, sir?
You know, you're actually a man who has very little guile. Because all of a sudden you began to qualify your question. You said the current National Assembly. The reality is that we don't have a National Assembly. You have an assembly of Tinubu's lackeys. Is it not the same one headed by Akpabio? Would Akpabio dare to do anything other than what he is told by Tinubu? So, which National Assembly? The one where they sing on his mandates they shall sit. Is that not the one you are calling National Assembly? There is nothing nationalistic about that parasitic assembly of crooks. Absolutely nothing nationalistic about them. So I'm sorry, you don't have a National Assembly.
There have been widespread rumors and online speculation about a possible coup plot against President Tinubu following recent instability and disaffection within the ranks of the Nigerian military and political echelon. From a public affairs perspective, sir, what do you make of these coup allegations?
See, I have said on multiple occasions, the Nigerian military is almost worse than the Nigerian ruling class. And when you begin to put together the little information that is in the public space, if we are to take serious the news of a coup, if we are to take it serious, right? When you take the little that you have in the public space and you find that he's a character like Tim Silva that is supposed to be the sponsor of the coup, and then you look at the man, what kind of change can possibly come out of a process initiated violently by such a man? What exactly what change should we be expecting? My memory of that guy, he was of EFCC having like a 48-count charge against him for stealing. And that's the man that is supposed to be the sponsor, allegedly, of a coup. Look, I don't expect any good to come out of any military coup Say me and you are sat here, we are speaking Dogon Trenchi. If those khaki boys, backed by the unconscionable power of a team pray, they will now be speaking Dogon Trenchi and be pretending that they are reformists. Someone like me will speak. Shebi was a kitty, they took me to the last time, I could still have visitors. This time around, maybe they'll take me to Gashua and put me in some underground cage somewhere. At least allow us to be speaking at Dogon Trenchi and abusing the idiots who are ruining the country. I don't know whether there was genuinely a coup, but if there was indeed one, truth of the matter is this: is it so? Olegba, it will now be Tinubu gone, Timpre silver. Where is the difference? We are merely exchanging one set of crook for another set of crook. That's what will happen. So I don't know whether it's the truth. If people have.
So you're of the opinion it's probably based as a conspiracy?
There is nothing about this government to inspire belief. They lie about everything. Even what they needn't lie about, they lie about it. For all I know, it might be a squabble in their family that they have brought to the public space and they are now asking idiots to come and queue behind one or the other. How is it my business if they decide to burn down their houses?
But Nigeria has actually had a long history of coup tied to economic frustration and elite conflict. But are we seeing echoes of that pattern today, sir?
You see, the worst thing about today's Nigeria is that the Nigerian military has been thoroughly disgraced and it cannot be looked at as an institution that brings hope anymore. Every time it had intervened, the long years it spent in power, it brought nothing but woes to the Nigerian people. All the Nigerian military has ever bequeathed on Nigeria is a succession of military bandits who stole the people blind, destroyed public institutions, destroyed public morality. You have the like of Babangida still ensconced in the hill there. Is that a beacon of hope? Nigeria is dropping to pieces and they can't even speak credibly. Which one of them can speak with any credibility to the problems of Nigeria? So the Nigerian military has not covered itself in glory, and it is not an institution that one can look to for redemption in Nigeria. The most dangerous part of all this coup talk is the fact that where the Nigerian military once had a monopoly of violence, it has lost that monopoly of violence today, and almost all of them have one militia or the other that they are keeping, all these politicians. So if the military strikes today and the different militia begins their own, how do you preserve a country that is already as fragile as this one is? Imagine Timpre and his crew assuming that what they are allegedly said to have been planning had happened. And then the Ronu crew turns around and say, oh, it's the Niger Delta people that has killed their son, oh. And then the Agbero Brigade in Lagos start their own. Before some of them even understand that Timpre is Ijaw, is not Igbo. You have a scenario that does not make sense. This country is too fragile right now for all those kind of misadventure. So please, I'm not for any military coup. Doesn't make sense.
Let's talk about the recent coalition. You declared at one point in time...
What coalition?
The coalition of the ADC.
I'm not a part of it.
But you had actually declared that the coalition has failed by recycling characters that ruined Nigeria.
See,
when you are actually referring to the African Democratic Congress then. I mean, can you provide evidence? I mean, there are enough evidence of their direct role in the decline of this country. But
let's be clear about something. I was out of the country at the time when the ADC coalition thing was brewing. But I made sure that my position was not ambiguous. I am of the firm opinion that the only coalition that makes sense right now is a coalition of Nigerian victims. The victims of Nigeria across ethnic and religious divides need to be coalescing and talking to themselves and looking and finding common purpose behind which to kill. But a coalition of Nigerian politicians. Okay, for instance, if I had been stupid enough to have embraced, what would even be the basis for embracing that so-called coalition? So me and a ruffian would have been queuing on the same side. If ever a list is going to be drawn up by the US, El Rufai is probably top of the list. So I'm supposed to be on that kind of, in that coalition. Or is it Baba Afusa, who could not pay my father's pension in Osun State, that I was supposed to be queuing behind? I am moved by principles. Principle. I can bend ideology if I would achieve my end and if principles would not be sacrificed. But I will never, ever bend principles. Principles are not meant to be bent. Where would I be finding common purpose with Aregbesola, with El Rufai? What's the common purpose? To remove Tinubu from power? And then when you are done removing Tinubu from power, what changes? Exactly what change are they seeking? They just want somebody out of power. I am not interested in political office. I'm interested in seeing a change in my environment. I'm interested in seeing change in my country. If you remove Tinubu from power today and you put another person in that office, if you do not change the governance system, nothing will change. Put Peter Obi in that office and not change the governance system, nothing will change. I am on record as having said variously over the years that 1,000 me in that office without substantive change to the structure of this country, I can do nothing in that office. That office itself makes you acculturated to evil. The office as it stands today cannot stand if it becomes accountable to power. If you yoke the Nigerian presidency, the government of Nigeria, if you force this government to obey the laws, even his own laws, it will collapse.
So, just to be specific, sir, what kind of structural reforms are you really calling for?
The first structural reform that has to happen is that the primacy of the Nigerian as a citizen must be understood, which would mean that when he votes, his vote should count, which does not happen currently. Which would also mean that his life and rights should be respected and it should be protected by law. But that does not happen as well. So it is next to impossible to speak of the Nigerian as a creature protected by law. If you can't speak of him as a creature protected by law, how can you speak of him as a citizen? If you cannot talk of him as a citizen, how can you then be speaking in any way, shape, or form about a place governed democratically? Democracy presumes the rule of law. Citizenship presumes the rule of law. Neither is available in Nigeria. And we continue to lie to ourselves, and government continues to push all kinds of propaganda instead of admitting to the truth of the problem that is in front of them and resolving the problem.
You had one time stated, sir, that having a political position is not an invitation to unjustly be disrespected by inbred morons who are lacking in basic human decency. How do you define these inbred morons, and why is that term appropriate or defensible in your view?
You see, frankly speaking, I don't even know the context of the tweet you've quoted just now. But let's be clear about something. Intelligence has not been a common factor in governance in this country. There is nothing about the way we are governed that is suggestive of a people ruled by intelligent, sentient beings. Look all around you. We'll be celebrating the opening of a road, and you find that the road is already obsolete. I was on Facebook a few days ago, and somebody posted pictures of a new ICT center that was being commissioned in Ekiti State. And it was a bungalow. Some like a 3-bedroom bungalow. It's some World Bank project. It took 2 governors, the serving and the former, to commission a bungalow. The complete absence of ambition. They don't have any grand vision. Those are the people I'm supposed to be respectful towards, right? Respect begets respect. The ruiners of Nigeria treats me and other Nigerians with utmost contempt, and they are not deserving of any respect whatsoever. I will not respect somebody who has no respect for me. So they are inbred morons.
Finally, sir, you were quoted as saying that ordinary Nigerians can demand justice through simple steps. You once gave a 3-step guide. Can you recall those exact steps? And are there cases where following them can lead to measurable change, sir?
See, Nigeria is not a place where you can find incremental change. Change cannot be incremental in Nigeria. Nigeria requires a hard reset. It's not a place of incremental changes. The only thing you can do incrementally is to increase the consciousness of the people. I am a firm believer in the fact that you need to build a coalition of victims before you can have the critical mass that is required to confront this system. You can't get concessions out of this system that will lead to any enduring change. You only have the choice of building towards a confrontation. It is inevitable. But that confrontation can be peaceful if you do the legwork that is sufficient to awaken the critical mass in terms of number. I just spoke to one just now. October 2020, 2 locations, 1 state. Multiply that exponentially and have 2 locations in 36 states of the Federation. Or are we suggesting that it is only in Lagos that you have victims of Nigeria? But those who have sought to change Nigeria have been largely intellectually indolent and physically indolent as well. They think they can decree change and be Voltrons. You can't decree change and you can't be Voltrons. You cannot revolt on behalf of the people. You are going to have to do the legwork, educate the people, connect them to the battle you are fighting on their behalf, or you would have fought for nothing. Strike the shepherd and the flock is scattered. The strongest my voice, quote and unquote, was heard was when I was in prison. Each and every one of the persons that had been awakened before I went to prison was speaking. My voice was silenced, but the people spoke. Everybody who desires to see change in Nigeria are going to have to get off their stupid high horses and understand that they can't be Voltrons. They have to go and talk to the people. You can't revolt on anybody's behalf. It's not possible. Do the legwork. Build coalitions of the victims. Sometimes you have to hold your nose. Not everybody will look like you. And that's why I have to walk across channels with everyone, hoping that people will get up to the knowledge of the fact that this is not about me as a person. It is about all of us as a collective. Even if it doesn't happen in my lifetime, I would have left behind a body of work which future generation will be able to say, okay, one of them was not like them. If that's all we can do, then we'll do it. It doesn't matter. We might not see results in our own lifetime, but it will be said that we did what we needed to do when we needed to have done them. That nothing might change in my lifetime is not sufficient reason for me to find the grace of silence or to decide that all of a sudden I must do it myself. If you do the right thing at the wrong time, you fail. It's almost worse than when you do the wrong thing at the right time. The important thing is to consistently do the right thing. It could happen in my lifetime. It might happen after I'm gone, but it will not be said that I walked the wrong path.
It would be a remiss if I never asked you this question that has to do with the recent confrontation between the CP of Lagos declaring Omoyele Sowore wanted.
If he doesn't declare Yele wanted, who do you want him to declare wanted? Oga Jimo was just doing our carry. But you already know, where Yele is concerned, the Nigerian police and the Nigerian state almost always become irrational. And it may have learned to enjoy I call it the Yele tango. If you're a policeman in Nigeria and you're not dancing tango with Yele, who would you say you danced tango with before you left office? I think I saw a comical clip where the police commissioner was talking about Yele's NYSC certificate.
Exactly.
I'm not sure, I didn't know you require an NYSC certificate to protest in Lagos now. Or maybe it's a jurisdiction issue. Maybe in Oworoshoki, if you don't have NYSC certificate, you are not welcome. I don't know what's going on. But honestly speaking, what I know over the years, I've gotten used to Yele and the police with their multiple drama. There's something about Yele that attracts the Nigerian police and their drama. And Yele enjoys it. They enjoy it. Everybody is adequately entertained. At the end of the day, what have they done? They've merely advertised the idiocy. Yeah, because I don't even know what the truth is. When it comes to Yele and the Nigerian police, since Egbeto time, it has even doubled. I just sit back. When you have kids who are fighting, until it gets, is it that when they are silent and you're not hearing their voices again, at that point, okay, I hope one has not killed the other. Or maybe when the noise is becoming too rambunctious, okay, wahala has happened. But in all honesty, one day, one trouble. Yele and the Nigerian police will not learn to leave Yele alone. Yele is not the kind of person who will tiptoe around them either. So ultimately, I just consider it comic relief. Is when it gets too quiet. Like I think it was about a week ago when they hauled Yele to Kuje. The thing is just mad. And for me, it's just so much madness being advertised on a daily basis. I don't know why they keep chasing Yele all over the place. But like I told a friend the other time, I'd rather they are chasing Yele around than they are chasing me.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir.
Oh, you're welcome.
Insightful perspective.